What's up, guys? I know it's been a minute since I've made a video. I want to apologize for that. There is a reason for it. Basically, I haven't had much progression over the last few weeks, and I just didn't see a point in making a video about nothing. But I will say this. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 weeks, about 4 weeks ago probably, I had a test date. And I went to take my test, and turns out that if you live in Arkansas and you are trying to get your CDL, there's some test givers at Little Rock that you want to watch out for. Basically, not everyone there wants to give you a fair chance, or at least not if you make them look like an idiot. Basically, I had my test at 12:30 one day, got there at like 11:45, got checked in, everything, waited for the person to come out, and he finally came out at about 12:30, like the correct time was, and we went to take my test. When you take your test, at least in Arkansas, you start off with your pre-trip. And when you begin your pre-trip, you do your in-cab you do your brake test and your in-cab inspection. I started off my brake test, and one of the first things you do, there's a few more steps to it, but the first big thing you do is the leak test, where you hold down your service brake or your foot brake, and you hold it down for a minute, and you shouldn't lose more than 4 psi. While I was doing that, and I got to about 30 seconds, and the guy giving me my test goes, "Do you hear that? I hear an air leak." I look at him and I'm like, "No, sir, I don't hear one, and my gauge is not moving at all." And he goes, "Well, I'm pretty sure you have an air leak." Mind you, he's got his door open. We're pretty close to the interstate. There's cars whizzing by left and right. You can hear him pretty well. The wind's blowing. I mean, he's telling me he hears this itty bitty little air leak. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you, sir. My gauge is not moved at all. And he's like, "All right, I'm gonna get out and check." I was like, "Okay." He gets out. He goes back to my glad hands. He checks those. He checks the airlines on the truck. Doesn't see anything there. He looks in the airbags and just everywhere he can think of. Can't find anything. Then he goes, "Is your instructor here?" Which is a dumb question, because obviously he's there. For me to get there legally, there has to be an instructor. And so I was like, "Yes, sir, he's here." And he said, "Call your instructor over." So I get on my phone, I call my instructor. He comes over, and the guy giving me the test tells the instructor that there's an air leak somewhere. And so they both start looking for it. And at this point, the guy giving me my test, he's walked to the back of the truck and looking for an air leak. And my instructor walks up. He jumps up on the window and goes, "Is your foot on the brake?" And I mean, it's been about 3 minutes at this point. Like I'm sitting there pushing on my foot to keep the brake down, because on them Bill 18 wheelers, them brakes take a little bit of force to keep down. And so I'm sitting there pushing on my leg. I'm like, "Yes, sir." And he goes, "Is your gauge moving?" And I'm like, "It has not moved since I put my foot on this pedal." And he goes, "All right, yeah, you ain't got an air leak, and I can't find one, but this guy seems to think you have one." And I was like, "I don't know." I told him I didn't have one, but he's looking for one. And so then finally, this guy gives me a test, goes, "You know what? I think I figured out where the air leak is. I think it's in your front left caliper." The truck I was in did not have calipers. And my instructor was happy to let him know that. And this guy's like, "All right." And he feels kind of dumb. And I continue my brake test, no problems. I continue my pre-trip. And with the pre-trip, normally when you get around the fifth wheel, a little bit past it maybe, you're done. And I finished my tractor, and I was still going. I was like, okay, that's a little weird. Got about halfway through my trailer. I was like, I guess I missed quite a few on the rest of my pre-trip. And I finished the trailer, and at this point I'm like, oh dang, I messed up somewhere. I don't know where it was, but I messed up somewhere. And old boy tells me that my biggest mess ups were that I did not say that my seatbelt was not torn or frayed. When I did my lug nuts on the rims, I said that they were properly tightened with no rust to indicate looseness. And he wanted me to say they were properly tightened with no rust trails to indicate looseness, which I don't really think that is much of a difference, but you know, people. And then I also didn't say that my fifth wheel was properly greased and had no cracks. I told my instructor that's what he told me, and I thought it was kind of weird that he told me that, because at the school, sorry about this light coming in. Okay, that didn't really help. But I thought it was funny that he told me that, because at the school they have these little it's about a 9 or 10 page paper or packet of papers they give us as our pre-trip to go over. My paper didn't say anything about saying the fifth wheel is greased. Didn't say anything about the fifth wheel being not being cracked. Didn't say anything about rust trails on my lug nuts, and didn't say anything about the seatbelt not being torn or frayed. And that was the stuff that he told me I did wrong, and I was like, okay. And so I just told him, I didn't realize I needed to do that. And I got to my instructor and I told him that was why I failed. And he goes, you don't have to say any of that stuff. And I was like, really? And he said, yeah. And his biggest thing was the fifth wheel being greased, because there's a trailer on it. You can't prove if it's greased or not if there's a trailer on it. And so, and I was like, I don't know, that's what he told me I failed for. Turns out we've had problems with this guy before. I don't know if I can legally say his name, so I won't, but I want to. But basically that was the problem. And so we waited a few more weeks, and then this last Thursday, today is Sunday. This is my first video on Saturday. I'm sorry guys, it's been a rough week. But Thursday I had my retest in Newport. And so quick little story. Whenever you get your CDL permit, your CLP, your expiration date is a year off of when you bought your book, not when you passed the test, which is what I figured. Or well, when you buy the test packet. And the test packet, I bought mine last summer on July 22nd, because I was thinking about getting my CDL then, and I did not realize you need to be 21 to get your CDL. And so I bought mine then. I was going to study some and try to at least get my permit by the end of last year, and hopefully find a job to start to kind of help me get my CDL. Did not work out, best you can probably guess. And so I got my permit, whenever, shortly after I made my first video, right? Got my permit shortly after that. And I was looking at my permit one day, and I realized the expiration date was July 22nd. And I was like, well, July 22nd of 2022, that's about a month and a half. I need to get my CDL quick. And so, I've been practicing the manual, because I don't know if I've talked about this before. You may or may not know this, but when you get your CDL, if you test in a manual truck, then you have no restrictions as far as the transmission. If you have an automatic truck that you test in, you are restricted to only automatics. And so that kind of was like, I wanted to do manual so I didn't have any restrictions, to make me more versatile as a worker. But then I realized I had to get my CDL about a month after the last time I tested, and I was like, well, I think automatic will work. But I ended up testing in my automatic, and in the automatic, because I was not comfortable with the gears. Thursday, I had my test, and it's in Newport. I went up there, I drove up to Newport with my instructor, and we ran part of the course. My test was at 12:30. We got there 11:45. We didn't feel comfortable leaving to run the actual course. We just ran part of it, but we ran the hardest part, luckily. So we walked out there to the truck. I started my brake test. No air leaks. It was good. We went through. I did my entire pre-trip. I missed 4 things on it, so I felt pretty good. And then I was doing my my maneuvers, my skills. Just backing. I did my straight line back. Easy. I did my offset. Easy. I did my 90, and I got 1 point on there simply because I wasn't used to the course they had. So when I was backing up, I had my trailer just a little too far to the right, and I was going to hit the cone. I went as wide as I could once I realized I was going to hit it to see if I could dodge it, but there wasn't going to be a way for me to dodge it, and so I just pulled up before I hit the cone, used 1 point for reset, and before I broke the plane. But then I got my my trailer in there on my second try. 1 point on my maneuvers. I was feeling pretty good. Then I hit the road test. So, like I said, we ran the hardest part the first time, and I hit the curb. And if you hit the curb, it's an automatic fail. Basically, all of the automatic fails are if you hit a curb, if you break a traffic law, like don't stop at a stop sign or red light, something like that. If you hit a person, obviously you're gonna fail. If the instructor tells you to do something and you don't do it, that's a fail. There's a few automatic fails, and then I think there's ways to get points on there to make you fail too, but I'm not really sure about those, so I'm not gonna talk about those because I don't know. But yeah, so we went out, we hit the interstate, we went about 2 miles in one direction, hit the exit ramp, turned around, came back, went 5 miles total, so we went 3 miles past our original, where we started off at, took an exit, drove through town. The hardest spot was going through town. It was in Newport, Arkansas, which it's a small town. I think it was like 7,526 or something like that was the population. Very small town. And so the roads were itty bitty, and technically it was like a 5-lane road, I guess, because there's 2 in each direction and then a turning lane in the middle. And I was in that turning lane, I was on the rightmost lane, which was very narrow with a curb right beside it. And this is where I hit the curb on the way. The first time I was running it, I hit the curb there, and because it was just a slight bend in the road, I guess, really. And so this time I stayed about a foot over, like I was right on top of that dotted line, you know what I'm saying? Making sure I didn't hit the curb and fail. And then I got to a spot where the road widened up and I had room to breathe. And I turned to the officer and I said, I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you this, but I was really stressed about that back there. And he looked at me and he goes, no, you're good. Back there, the rule is actually that you have to, if you hit the curb there, you're fine unless you go over the curb. Once you go over the curb, then that counts as failing, because that's a hard turn even for an experienced driver. And I was like, oh, okay, I don't feel too bad about hitting it the first time, but I didn't tell him about that. But I was like, okay, sweet. And so he was like, so actually you did pretty good. I was like, okay, bet. And we were finished driving, made a few more turns, pulled back in the lot, and got out of the truck. He didn't say anything to me. My instructor looked at me and he was like, you want to know how it's going? And I looked back at him and I was like, because I was pretty sure I passed. I didn't know for sure, but I was pretty sure. So it's like, and he just had a look of relief on his face. It's like, yeah. And got inside, and the guy, I was sitting at his desk and he's filling out some paper, and he said, well, there you go. And I was like, so I passed? And he was like, yes, sir. I was like, yes, sir. So I went out, told my instructor. He was happy. Called my girlfriend, let her know. Called my family, let all them know. Happy day. This right here is my my CDL. Look right there. It says Class A. Your boy is professional. But yeah, man, it was a long journey. I mean, I started. Today is, well, I got my permit. July or June. I had to wait till the next day to get it. But I got it. I passed the test on June 16th, and I started school on March 28th. So I mean, it was about just under 3 full months. And man, it was a long process, it felt like, but I got here, I finished it, you know, I'm happy. Over the next week or two, I'm gonna be applying for jobs, just see how it goes. I'm looking for a local job if possible. If not, I'll do regional. If I can't find a regional or local job, I'll do on the road. I really don't want to do over the road for a while. But yeah, right now I've already applied at a few jobs. I'm going to be applying at quite a few more, I'm sure. If you're in the central Arkansas area and you know any good companies that are local, let me know. I'm thinking about doing the food service. So something like Cisco, Benny Keith, what's it called, like Gordon or something like that. There's a few different food service companies, but I mean, I know that those are a workout, which I could use a workout. And from what I hear, most of them pay pretty well. So I'm looking at doing one of those, but not positive yet. But we'll see how it goes. But yeah, this is my video for today. Looks like this is gonna be probably my longest one at about 19-20 minutes. But yeah, if you got any questions, any tips, anything like that, let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you didn't enjoy the video, leave a comment saying you didn't like it, but don't hit the dislike button, because that's probably not a very good thing. Subscribe. I'm gonna try to actually make regular videos, at least weekly videos, to be like, you know, that's what's happening. If I see something cool, once I start working, I'll be like, oh, video, and then I'll either add it into like end of the week type video, or if it's really cool, I might just post it that week, you know, I don't know. But yeah, bye guys.